outscored up 38-17 in the third quarter. 3 games over 500. Q, Bruce Fraser joins the morning roast here on 95.7 The Game. Long-time roaster. What up, Q? Good morning, man. Or I should say good afternoon for you, huh? Did you sleep in a little bit?
Well, getting there. Time changed, but we got in a decent hour last night, so all good this morning.
All good this morning, all good with the team right now. You guys have won 11 of the last 14, 6 straight games on the road, but everybody wants to discuss Klay Thompson because of him coming off the bench here. And look, I never believed that coming off the bench was a demotion. I thought the biggest issue maybe you guys would have this season, which we could touch on later in the interview, is who's going to finish the game, who's going to play in the last 5 minutes. I think that could be the biggest, situation for Steve Kerr here, the most difficult situation. But Klay Thompson having the perspective, and last night we just talked to him on television on NBC Sports Bay Area. He's playing well coming off the bench here. Are you surprised at how seamless that transition has been for Klay Thompson?
I'm not surprised in what he's done. I didn't know how he'd take to coming off the bench, but he's been incredible about it. So, and he's been, as you've seen, playing really well in that role. So, he's obviously capable, and I think he's just for whatever reason, he's a little more composed and accepting. So he's been great.
Q, do you think he was pressured because obviously it's a contract year? We've all talked about it on this station. Everybody across the globe, everybody covers the NBA. Klay Thompson, what he's going to do after the season, or where he's going to re-sign him? He's going to start. He's going to come off the bench. Do you feel like that was weighing on him? It just maybe the pressure of trying to become the player or become that same player he was before the injuries?
Yeah, I think there's, without knowing exactly what he's thinking, there's a lot of things within why he wasn't, he may have been pressing for the contract. I think he just, more than anything, wants to be great, loves the game, and things weren't going as well for him for several reasons. So, he wasn't his best, and I think maybe coming off the bench has made him change his perspective maybe a little bit. And for whatever reason, he's playing a lot better. So it's great for us, And I think Klay just wants to be good, and he loves the game. I know that sounds kind of generic, but it's who he is. He's a basketball player, and the game means a lot to him, and his performance means a lot. So he wasn't performing at the level that he wanted, and I think those change in perspective has helped. So we're seeing really good results because of it.
Bruce, another guy that seems to love the game is Moses Moody. Talk about him for a second. That's not easy to not play, all of a sudden start, contribute like he did last night, the attitude, the effort that he had. That speaks more about the human being, the man, than the player. Talk about how he's stayed ready and how he's helped you guys this year.
Yeah, he's a really good teammate, and he's kind of an old soul, and he's kind of wise beyond his years, so he's still learning the game a little bit. But as far as a human being, he's a really good person, and so he's one of those guys that's almost an old pro while being young, which, if that makes any sense, is a little bit of a contradiction. But he's one of those guys that'll stay ready, and he wants to be out there. So he's probably not happy about the minutes that he's had in the past, but he's ready. And so you saw that last night where, we inject him into the starting lineup, and he plays really well. So he's capable with his skill, and he's still learning the game a little bit, but he's a good piece, and an old pro for a young mind.
Yep. No doubt about that, man. We love that about Moses Moody, man. He doesn't react. He just plays the game. And you're right. He's a veteran, even though he's in his third year out of Arkansas after leaving as a freshman. Chris Paul obviously came back last night after missing 21 games. And look, I thought his shot was coming around before he got hurt, before the left hand injury. He's shooting 40% from 3 in the previous 14 games. Seems like he picked up where he left off. And now you have this combination of Klay and CP3 in the backcourt. How excited does that make the coaching staff to have those two Hall of Famers in the backcourt together going against the second unit to help stabilize the non-Steph Curry minutes?
It was, CP was incredible last night, not just with his shooting, but just his playmaking and, organizing, kind of getting the guys in sets, and just he's a as you know, consummate pro, and just I was surprised that he was that good, only because he just hasn't been playing much, and he's been diligent about his rehab though, so he is a tireless worker, and he's been going at it and then getting extra work in, but still, just to step out on there and do what he did last night was impressive. Not just with his shot making, but with his kind of leadership and his playmaking. Like he was incredible. So it's exciting to see him back and to see what could happen with some of those lineups that you're talking about.
And Bruce, talking about Steph Curry, I mean, he put your team on his back for a while. He was on fire. All of a sudden, the shot's a little bit off. How do you keep him fresh down the stretch? Is he tired right now, or is it just that's what shooters do? They go through periods of where it just ain't happening. But I feel like, he put out so much energy and effort for so long that maybe at this point in the season, he's only human. Maybe fatigue setting in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's fatigue. With him, sometimes that matters, sometimes not. Usually you see his fatigue in his decision making, like it affects his decisions out there more than his shot. But he's human. We don't see it too often, but he is human. So right. He didn't have his best shooting night the last couple of games. But you don't, as an opponent, want that to happen with Steph. Like, you don't go into the next game saying, "Oh, good, Steph Curry missed the last couple of games. We're going to be good." Like, he's one of those guys that doesn't like missing shots. So he's always like, the next game's always like, uh-oh, watch out. Not to say that I don't want to make any predictions with Steph, but I've seen this show before where he doesn't have a great game, and then all of a sudden, the next one he's back at it. So I think I wouldn't attribute fatigue as much as just there's a human element to this, and
right.
He's always capable of having a big night.
Yeah, we were saying last night, Q, we're talking to Bruce Fraser, longtime assistant coach with the Golden State Warriors, a 4-time champion in his own right, next to Steve Kerr on that coaching bench. We were talking last night with Willie Fezzi. I feel sorry for the New York Knicks, man, coming off this performance here. We'll see about that over there at Madison Square Garden, where he's made history. And yesterday, Q, you warm him up every game. In case people don't know, when Steph Curry's warming up, you see a coach with gray hair and a gray beard passing the ball to Steph Curry. That's Q. That's the guy we're talking to right now. And so you've been there for all these memorable moments here, a lot of memorable moments with Steph Curry. Last night on the show, we were talking about how do we appreciate Steph's greatness. How do you appreciate a guy like him who's 35 years old, who's still playing the game like he's 10 years old, has a bunch of fun, plays with joy, he's still making shots at an unbelievable clip. We're talking about a slump here, Q, and he's still giving you nearly 20 points a game and 4 rebounds and 5 assists. What does appreciating Steph's greatness mean to you? What does that mean to you, Q?
Well, he's easy to take for granted. That's the sad part of it, because you get used to the brilliance. So I occasionally, without putting myself in any of it with what he does, I occasionally have to kind of snap myself out of the, like, this is just normal, and say, I have the opportunity to watch greatness, which is incredible. Maybe the best job of anyone in the NBA. Not to say other people don't have great jobs, but to work with a guy like Steph every day, and being sappy, but the kind of person he is, and just the energy he brings, and he's incredible. So, like I said before, he's always capable of having a big one. I don't know if I'd get ahead of myself and say I feel sorry for the New York Knicks, but
I'll say it for you, Q.
No. I think it was last year he broke the record here. Is that if
2 years ago. 2 years ago. Broke the.
That was a pretty incredible moment here in the Garden. So the Garden's always a special place to play, and Steph will show up for that one for sure. And like, to go back to your point, the brilliance of his greatness is, I don't know. It's you get used to things, and no one can take him for granted because he's that special.
Bruce, talk about playing in New York. Talk about playing at the Garden. Whenever you go there, it's just kind of a different electricity, right? I mean, it just hits different when you're playing in Madison Square Garden.
It does. It just, some people call it the mecca of basketball because there's such great players out of this area, and all the boroughs, have produced some really good talent. And I think the city just, is a sports in a basketball kind of city. I mean, they like all their sports here, but the Garden's a special place to play. It's got history. It's got character. It's still the Oregon, and just, you can just feel it. And the fans seem to be knowledgeable and passionate. And then I don't know if this is biased, but I feel like, in our kind of tenure and our runs, people show up to watch our team.
Yep.
And Steph and Klay and all, I feel like they come out to watch and they appreciate, that brilliance. I keep using that word, but those guys we've been so good and we still are. And, we play a good brand. So I feel like that combined with the history of the Garden, it's always a little electric in there.
No doubt. 11 years ago yesterday, he dropped 54 at Madison Square Garden. 8 years ago yesterday, he had that crazy shot in Oklahoma City where Mike Breen goes, bang, bang, oh, what a shot. He drops 46 and 12 threes, and we still can't wait for the 30 for 30 to see what happens at, I'm not even going to bring that up. Q, last one here. What do you do in New York? All right, you guys probably have shoot-around. Well, Klay Thompson yesterday said he's going to Central Park to play chess. Hopefully he has bodyguards, and hopefully somebody can watch over him. But what do you do in New York City when you got the day off? Do you wander around Central Park? Do you go see the Statue of Liberty? Are you going to go check out New Yankee Stadium and go see the monuments? What does Q do in New York?
That's a good question. I had some work this morning without sounding important, and then I've got some of the afternoon off. So Klay Thompson, back to him, will not have a bodyguard. That's the beauty of Klay. He'll be walking around Central Park, probably solo or with a friend and playing chess. That's Klay Thompson. Not that he plays chess a lot, but that kind of story or what he might do is always, fun to hear. I'll probably try and find a good place to eat tonight, maybe this afternoon, and cruise around the city. And no tourist stuff. I'm past that. Not that I'm above it, but right. I won't get to some of that stuff. But I'll try and get out in the city and enjoy it. We got a possible rain coming, so that might limit my. But I'll try and get some exercise and try and enjoy parts of the city and see what happens. The good thing for me right now, and I hate to say it this way, is I don't have a plan. That's kind of nice.
That's good when you don't have a plan.
No plan.
Gosh.
It's the best.
You don't have to adult today, Q. You can just live your life.
I have nothing on my list, which is nice.
Yeah, Bruce, good. You know what I used to do? Just go walk around and try to get lost. That's my favorite thing to do. You have no plan. Just walk out of the hotel, try to get lost. You got your phone, you know where it's going to be. But I used to do that every day on off days in New York. I'm going to go out and get lost and see what I run into.
I love it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that advice.
There you go.
We love that. We love that. QA, Bruce, we always appreciate the time you give us here in the morning. Also 95.7 The Game. You guys are playing well, 11-14, 6 straight on the road. We're excited to see where these last 25 games go. 3 games over 500. You guys are getting healthier and healthier and healthier. Hopefully get Wiggs back soon here to see what happens over these last 25. But Q, thanks for the time, man. Come up to go work. We'll see you tomorrow in New York City.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Bruce Fraser, 4-time champ here on the morning, also on 95.7.
Dude, you walk